Hello, this is Arnell Tanyag with Tanyag Company. We're a business advising consulting firm. We work with passionate business owners, inspiring them to double their income and grow their business while creating the ideal lifestyle. We focus on delivering results-driven consulting. The topic for today is the 7 ways to increase your word of mouth, which in turns, it should increase your referrals you receive. The reason I chose this topic, it's interesting. A lot of businesses believe word of mouth is purely based on when somebody uses your service. Then after they use your service, for example, like I had a friend of mine who just bought a condo, and literally what happened is he bought the condo, and I asked him, how did the service go? Oh, okay, I said, all right, would you refer them? Yeah, probably, but then you think they'll contact you, or do you think they'll get in touch with you afterwards? He basically said no, because I think he believed that once the transaction's over, the transaction's over. There wasn't no way to continually develop that relationship to have that ongoing word of mouth. And why is it important? Because let me give you an example. If you're in a business of relationships and you're in a business of asking for referrals and introductions, you can't keep asking for referrals and introductions if the transaction's only been around maybe a couple years ago and there's no word of mouth around your product or service or about you or your brand. So let me give you an example. I have a lot of realtors or mortgage people who call people for referrals, and they always ask me, so, well, how often do I call? I said, well, it depends on how well you build those relationships and have people talk about your brand or have good word of mouth associated to you and your service. So it basically means, imagine this, if I was a realtor or a mortgage person and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and do your largest purchase in a lifetime. So I'm not just a realtor or a mortgage person just for choice in this mere incident helping you, refinance or buy a house. I want to be the person that is a realtor of choice for a lifetime, meaning that once we go through this transaction, I'm going to keep in touch with you if you ever want to do real estate investing, if you ever want to buy a second or third house or friends or neighbors. I want to keep in touch with you and being a resource. So I'll be checking up throughout the year, asking how business is going, see if I can be a great resource. I just want to be able to help you not only through this purchase or anything I can do personally or professionally that I can reach out. So now what happens is the person already anticipates it's a long-term relationship. You're going to be able to build that word of mouth through certain things you can do to help that person. So when the person does call you, normally they're going to receive your call and open and willing to hear you out. Because I find this out, and I've experienced this myself, when people call me and ask me referrals and we haven't talked for months, there's no substance to the relationship, there's 3 things that I usually do, and I think these are 3 things most people do. Number 1, they just ignore you. They don't want to be hit up for referrals all the time. Number 2, or if they do give you a referral, they give you a referral that is a terrible referral, just to get off your back because they feel pressure. That's all that you want. So they don't want to tell you no. They just give you a sucky referral or sucky introduction. Or third, they just become a business friend. They'll tell you get a referral, but they don't really do. And they start becoming your friend because they just don't want to tell you no, but they don't want to lose the friendship. And I think that the challenge is when you build good word of mouth, you still have to identify the people in your database that want to help you, but at least they're talking about you. And I'll give you an example. When I meet with people all the time, I want to make sure I leave the meeting in a positive experience. So even if they're not good for my business, meaning that they're not going to be a client or they're not looking to network or they're just a great person, but they're not looking to any help from me or give any help to me, but I'm willing to help them. I'm going to help them because I want to leave them with a good experience. So when they mention my name, mention my service, they'll say, oh, that Arnell, Tanyag Company is a great company. He's really helpful. I'd rather have that type of word of mouth because if I'm in a room of people and I have some people who are loyal to my business and give me referrals and introductions, and the other people I've met and talked to, and they, for some reason, they don't want to refer and introduce me. They don't see me as the expert, but at least they'll remember I had a good experience with him. He did help me. He was very concerned. He gave me some advice. Even if they don't become a client, even if they'll become my network, they still leave that meeting positive. They still will tell other people, well, he's a great guy. I think you give him a shot. I sat down with him. It wasn't the right fit for me, but this is what I think he can do for you. And that word of mouth is constant because what happens is There's word of mouth that promotes you, that gets people excited about using you, and then word of mouth that actually makes people feel good about you. And I think the hardest thing is, when I ask people what word of mouth is, they always go referrals. And word of mouth definition is influencing and encouraging organic discussions about your brand, organization, resource, event. See, it's organic. It's creating that discussion about you, your product, service. What gets people excited about talking about you? See, that's a different. When they get excited about talking about you, that means they bring it up to people. And then when they hear people have a need, they bring you up. Or they say, oh, did you hear, my realtor, he really went out his way to help you. Well, what kind of realtor is that? Oh, my mortgage person, he basically helped me get a loan. But not only that, he sends me these gifts. He calls me up. He asks me what I do. I mean, it just creates that buzzword. And basically what we're hoping to do with this talk is help you figure out how to increase your word of mouth. Because the better you increase your word of mouth, it's a lot easier to ask for referrals. It's a lot easier for people to give you referrals because you're creating that organic discussion about you, your brand, your service. So I'm going to share the 7 ways to increase your word of mouth. Number 1 is, first of all, just decide going forward that even if your business is transactional, like a one-time transaction, like when people buy or sell, buy a house, it's only 5 to 7 years. So it's a one-time transaction, but don't let the one-time transaction be your only word of mouth, that I'm just going to do a phenomenal job when I actually do that. But then, I tell people, well, what happens afterwards? And does the relationship die? Are you trying to market to them? You're marketing them, you drop by, pop buys and that, but there's no substance, there's no discussion except that you're just marketing to them. There's no real caring or something that gets them excited about talking about you. Or do you really want to basically have good word of mouth, not only at the beginning of the transaction, but as long as you have the relationship between you and the client? And I'll give you an example, like I see in some companies like Zappos, when somebody buys shoes from them, they have built in their budget to wow the customer because they want the customer to come back all the time. This is an online company because they want that ongoing word of mouth. So the person comes back and back and back again. But they have built it in. They create that customer experiences that wow or excite people, so the discussion is talked over and over again. And this is an online company. So the first thing you want to do is you got to decide going forward that I want positive, contagious word of mouth, not only during the transaction, but through the lifetime of the relationship. It goes on and on and on. Because if you're going to build a word of mouth business and you want to get referrals, you want people constantly talking about your brand, mentioning your name, and eventually people will call you. People will tell you, go talk to this guy. People talk to this guy. Go talk to this guy. Go talk to this guy. He's the guy to talk to. It's funny. I had somebody come to my workshop on Friday, and she said, Arnell, 5 people told me to go talk to you because you have a system on helping people do networking that actually makes it win-win. She goes, well, I said, what do you mean? Who was the 5? She said, She said, Betty, Jeremy, Chris, Dana, and somebody else. Said they all call and say, hey, if you're really looking to do networking, you're really looking to build your business by building networking, getting good introductions, you really need to talk to Arnell. I was like, wow. I said, wow, that's really good. I said, I was like very blessed, and I was kind of like, wow, word of mouth does work, because I'm explain why that worked. It worked based on one of the principles in the book Contagious. So I'll explain that a little later. And then again, with number 1 is you just got to decide. Like in my business, I want ongoing word of mouth. It's positive. Even if the person doesn't do business with me, or even if the person doesn't become a good client or someone in my network, I still want them to have a positive word of mouth. Then in turn, the people that do qualify for my network or do have a need that my company generally can help, I want people to tell people about them, promote them. Number 2, another way is you got to really not tell people, you have to show. But you have to show in 3 areas. Number 1, you have to show that you care about people. So one of the things you do about caring, I have a form that's called Creating Depth to a Relationship. It asks you name, company, your wife, your spouse, your kids, your pet. What are your favorite things? What's your favorite dinner? What's your favorite part of the year? And because I really want to get to know the person really well, and I study it and I ask people what their kids are, how they're doing. And I also call them like on the birthdays, the pre-birthday, pre-anniversary, favorite date, and I just really want to get to know the person really well. And then in the same form, I have them write down their top 3 goals, personally, professionally, want to accomplish in 2017. Then I ask them, do they have a bucket list, and what are the top 3 things they want to accomplish in the bucket list? and in each of the goal on the bucket list, which are the most important thing, the number one most important thing they really want to work on. And I really, I really do genuinely want to. I know those things because I really want to figure out if I can really help them get there. Because the whole idea is that people truly believe you care. They truly know that you're just not selling them or you're marketing them. You really do care, and in turn they'll care about you and your business. Part of number 2, you want to also show appreciation. And basically what that means is appreciation. What you want to do is you want to show people that you really appreciate them for who they are, for what they do. So you can do handwritten thank you notes. And one of the formats you want to follow, there's one called the Power Note by Mike Mayer. It talks about how do you lift people up. Thank you notes are for thanking people, but handwritten. Not, there's a company called Send Out Cards. There's nothing wrong with that, but people know it's a marketing thing. I think when you actually take time to write it out and thoroughly think about that, it impresses people. Then there's a book called Giftology by a gentleman named John Ruhlin. Talks about the type of gifts you give to people to appreciate. And in the book, it talks about giving gifts that wow the individual, but especially give gifts that wow the person's spouse or significant other and their kids. Take care of the people who take care of the person you're wowing. But it says give unique gifts, give gifts that people constantly are reminded of you. It says don't give gift cards, don't give promotional items. Give something that literally people constantly think about you. Like there's a local person who makes wine beer glasses and can make it person logo, make it against with a person, and it's unique from a stance that she hand paints it, and the glass is delivered in a nice container, and I think it's pretty awesome. I think literally that's a unique gift. So people look at it and they'll think about it. But at the end of the day, you need to show appreciation. And, even just calling people up and say, "Hey man, I want to thank you. I appreciate you." That goes a long way. I mean, I give introductions and referrals to people often, but I don't really ever get a thank you or appreciation. Now, it doesn't mean I don't want it, but I just think it's just a lot of lacking. And the last part of part 2 is show generosity. I mean, you have to be generous, and I think that means giving time and money. And if you're thinking about giving time, what you want to do, there's like 4 types of giving and giving time. You can be a mentor to people in your industry, to people in general. You can be an expert in a specific field, so people will ask you questions, and you're willing to share that knowledge. You can coach people on certain skills. Another one, you can be a great connector. Another one they call it be an extra mile. You get there early, stay there late. And then the last one is be helpers. I have a client of mine who's a great connector, and she's been able to win a lot of business because she connects people. She's really good at connecting people, but she's also really good at asking people in return. She's a really good connector. So again, in number 2 is show people that you care, appreciate, and give. And not only tell them, but show them. Because today there's a lot of hype around words, but there's no hype around action. Number 3, another way to generate word of mouth is use one of the 6 principles from the book Contagious. It's Why Things Catch On by Johann Berger. It's one of the best books on how to really create your word of mouth campaign. He did a study, and he found out there were 6 principles that you can apply in your business. He even has a workbook you can go through. So I'm going to go over each principle. Number 1 is social currency. So social currency, what that basically means is if you're going to build word of mouth, what are you literally creating that is a form of currency that wows people, gets people to talk about you? And he talks about, he breaks social currency into 3 things. Inner remarkability. Make people talk about them seem more remarkable. Make something interesting, surprising, or novel. Something that stands out because they're talking about it. Number 2, leverage game mechanics. Requires qualifying performance. Publicizing people's events. Like, another way of social currency, a company could set up a awards banquet. The thing about inner remarkability is create something that only like a T-shirt that stands out, that's only part of something that's part of you. And the other thing he says about this social currency is make people feel like insiders, either focus on scarcity and exclusivity, so that, you know, like for example, I'm gonna create a generosity network, and it's people who literally want to help my business, loyal to Tanyag Company, and want to network and grow. And then I'm going to set up events and activities just for those people. It's up to 150, and just keep them informed what's really going on, and just do that. And the interesting thing about that whole idea is to just create that social currency. You know, there's financial currency, but social currency can drive word of mouth. Number 2, create triggers. Get people talking about you. So you want to attach a specific trigger to your business. Like for example, one of the things I may do when a client achieves a milestone, like they became a Rainmaker and they're able to sustain it, I want to give them a T-shirt with the logo and put in their hashtag Rainmaker, hashtag working on your business, hashtag building the business, building a lifestyle, not just a business. You know, something like that. It stands out. You know, or because it gives them a trigger. Or one of the things I still have a workshop on the first Friday of the month called the Real Estate and Affiliates Growth Forum. I changed it to first Friday because now I want people to associate first Friday. Come, you know, if you're in the real estate industry, come work with Arnell. Come to this lunch. So just think of visual audio triggers that catch on. Number 3 principle is emotion. Is how can you make your product and service emotional? And they say when you focus on emotional, use the feelings of what we call awe, excitement, and amusement, humor to motivate people. So, you know, this is where you really could do, you know, online video testimonials. That's another way of, and having people excited to talk about the success and stuff like that. Public, making your product and service visible, gaining social proof, gaining observability. I mean, it was basically talking about I should have T-shirts, professional golf shirts that I wear. My clients that have something when they hit a certain threshold, they should receive something. Like I had a company client who, when you become a raving fan from them, they give you a coin, like in the military, as a significance that you're a raving fan for them. And the other thing, the other 5th principle is practical value. Does the information help people? So you have to have things that product service that really truly help people, because people talk about what it helps them. And the last one is tell stories. And I always believe that another creates word of mouth is you have people tell stories and how you help them or how they helped you. And you know, stories should be framed on some concept of here's the problem, here's where we're at, the problem exists, here's the feature we want to create, here's the solution, this is how the company help you. You know, what do you think if you didn't do it, and then a call to action. You know, but I think the idea is that the book is really good about breaking it down. So I'm gonna, in my business, I'm gonna apply it. I mean, I'm gonna create a club. I'm gonna have some T-shirts made for specific people who really help me. I'm gonna get really good at telling specific stories related to how we help people, and you know, I'm gonna basically reward people for their successes, and really create that word of mouth, create that exclusivity, so that Tanyag Company is known in the area as the best business advising consulting firm, especially for people in the real estate industry. Number 4 is create a tipping point. So what you want to do is you create a tipping point, and this is based on a book that's written by Malcolm Gladwell, and how to get your ideas to tip over. And one of the concepts that I like about this is you want to look for these 3 types of people: connectors, mavens, and salesmen. A connector is a person who has different relationships and different networks, and they're able to connect people. And I've seen these people. I know some of these people, and they're phenomenally great. They can connect you to 10, 15, 20 people in a month. They're just good with people. Then there's a maven. The maven is a person who literally is an expert in an industry. Like, I know several people that they know so much in the industry that those are the ones you want to ask. And then the third one is called a salesman. This person can sell to anything and everyone. So the whole idea about the law of the few in this book, The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, is you look for people to carry your message. You know, and then you got to have, in the book it says, stickiness factor. It's got to be top of mind and influence them to future behavior. and the context has got to be introduced in the right time and the right people. That's why I decided to pick a certain niche, focus on people in the real estate industry, especially realtors, owners, brokers, and people who serve that market, because it's a phenomenal market, and they're building what I call lifestyle businesses. They want to build a lifestyle, not just a business. Number 5 way to increase the word of mouth is spend time influencing people that can help your business, and you want to focus using what they call the communications pyramid, written by Mike Mayer, who wrote the book The 7 Levels of Communication. He talks about you want to influence people versus not only informing them. A lot of people today are just telling people they're a realtor, marketing to them to inform them, but not really influencing. And here's the difference. Imagine, would you rather have 10 people sending you 4 to 5 referrals a month, which is anywhere from 40 to 50, or 100 people sending you 20 over a year? So, 4 or 5, 10 people, 50, that's 50 in a month. In a year, that could be, 40, that's like 480. Like, for example, like Mike Mayer, when he was a real estate agent, he generated 500 referrals on average a year from his database. When I ask people specifically, if you have somebody who gives you referrals and introductions, how many referrals and introductions have they referred you throughout the year, and how many of those have you made money? On average, when I ask people how many referrals they usually get from their sphere or from their network, it may be only 3 or 4, and only 1 out of 3, maybe 33%. I've never heard anybody at the road says one referral source has sent them 40, 50. All I usually hear is maybe 2 or 3 a year. And those happen, but I listen. I'm in a coaching program with Mike Mayer, and he said one referral source sent him 135 people. And so I was like blown away. I'm not surprised, because when you're influencing people and you're helping them, and they're a great connector, they'll introduce you to a lot of people. I have somebody who connects me to like 3 or 4 people a month, and some of them work out, some of them don't, but she does connect me. Way number 6 is get offline and online testimonials, reviews for your business. I always recommend people should be getting reviews on Google, Yelp, Bing, Facebook, LinkedIn, because reviews online and offline, like online is like the major sites, again, like Bing, Yahoo, Facebook, and Google, and there's actually sites for real estate agents and mortgage people like Zillow, Trillia, and Realtor.com. Getting in, but you also want to get testimonials, like have video testimonials online. Have written testimonials written down for you, because those things really help people create word of mouth. And testimonials need to be written where there's a problem, here's where they're at, here's what you help them solve, this is the future for them, and how to help them, and a call to action. I think if you have those, it makes it easier for people to talk about you. And then the 7th thing, the last important thing, is just don't ask for referrals and introductions. You really create a plan, because here's the thing. When you're doing this right, when you're doing great word of mouth, is you're getting referrals from people without even know they're referring you. If you have to get referrals because you ask, and you only get them when you ask, that means you have probably a really weak word of mouth business. If you have a strong word of mouth business, you're getting referrals from people. People are calling you, or emailing you, or asking you every month, because you have created so much of a buzz that people should call. And that's the distinguishing thing, is if you only get referrals and introductions because you call people, okay, that's great, but you have to call them. If you do a really good job at creating word of mouth, people find you, and you're not calling them. See the distinction? The reason I'm spending time on this and spending time teaching my clients in May and June about this, because the bottom line, what I want to help them accomplish is get people to send you business that you didn't expect, versus you only get business because you have to ask for referrals and introductions. You want people sending you people because the word of mouth is so strong about you and your service or product that they should use you, versus the only time you get referrals and introductions is because you have to ask people. And then when you do ask for people, it's not that strong, because all you're doing is spending time asking for your referrals and introductions, but not helping them. So that's the reason that I believe if you can increase your word of mouth, you should be able to increase your referrals. And the type of referrals you'll get our referrals, you don't have to ask people for referrals. It'll just come your way because what you're doing to create that word of mouth compels, promotes, inspires, and motivates people to help those people they know to use your product and service. So again, this is Arnell Tanyag with Tanyag Company. The 7 ways to increase your word of mouth equals 50% increase in referrals. And if you have any questions or you want to sit down and have coffee and talk about this, how to apply in your business, don't hesitate to just put a comment down there or reach me on my office number, which is 757-752-8169, 752-8169. All right, thanks again. This is Arnell. Hope you have a great day, and thanks for listening to the video today.